We bought this Sprinter van for $10,000 with the idea to make a few small changes and then hit the road exploring Australia. But as they say, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Weeks have passed and now we have a hollow shell of a van and we're only just starting to put stuff back in. In this video, we're going to somehow paint and fit our side panels.
Uh-oh.
The correct way.
Look at the bottom.
7.
Uh-oh.
Insulate the van, lay our vinyl floor coverings, and start prepping for our bed base. Plus, we're gonna go through our 12-volt off-grid setup. It's been a while since you last saw us, and a lot has changed. My sister's partner, Brad, who happens to be a wizard at carpentry, offered to give us a hand through the week, and we have a floor. We ended up going with the marine ply for the floor. It's thin, but it's quite hard, and we double layered some insulation. It is crazy the difference only this has made. Not only that, if you have a keen eye, you'll notice how nice and organized our wires are. That's because Emily's dad, Tony, has been home and he pretty much gave us a full electrical plan of where we want everything to go and helped us snake through all the wires we needed. Now we have a very good idea of what all the wires are gonna look like when we're finished. This whole thing has been like learning another language, and I've had to learn too, because after so many of you reached out and told us to upgrade from AGM to lithium, well, we went shopping.
It's so heavy. This is our new and improved battery system. So we went with a 200 amp hour lithium battery, which I think is the amount of amp hours that is recommended for van lifers. It means that we should be able to go for at least a couple of days without being connected to shore power. We also have, is that right?
Yeah.
Is this bit next?
Yeah.
Oh, this will be getting power from a 150 watt solar panel that actually came with the van. That's bigger than we thought it was. Originally we were going to get a solar blanket to beef that up, but 150 watts should be plenty. It will also get power from the inverter. No, it gives power to the inverter. It will also get power from the alternator while we're driving, I think through the DC-DC charger. We also got a 40 amp wiring, so it's quicker. 50 amp. What?
We got a 50 amp wiring because don't worry about that. That's just.
The final place this will get power from is shore. So when we're at like a caravan site, we can plug in and effectively just be plugged in like you're at a house, like an outlet to the outside of our van. Yeah?
Yeah.
This will monitor it, and then this inverts the DC power from the battery to outlets that we can use to charge our laptop, charge our phone, use appliances, that sort of stuff. That's what the inverter's for. And we got a control box so it looks neater. Is there another reason for this?
It's pretty much it.
That is Batteries for Dummies with Emily.
She nailed that.
Did I?
You nailed it enough.
Should we go to Bunnings?
This new electrical system was very expensive, but from everything that you have told us, we think this is worth it because AGM batteries just aren't as effective as lithium. Like, this is future proofing our van a little bit more. Don't know if I mentioned, but the plan for the battery system is to actually sit underneath one of our seats, and that will just be a battery powerhouse. Switches and outlets and everything will basically be under one section.
We have some things to consider.
Originally we were going with a option for the floor that you guys helped us pick on Instagram, but what we didn't realize is that that option doesn't come with like the adhesive on there, like a sticker.
Yeah, we'd have to like glue it down ourselves, which I don't think we're confident in doing.
It's just like an extra thing to have to worry about. And the more expensive ones are the ones that are like pre-glued. It's effectively like a sticker, right?
Yeah, stickers.
But we would need 2 of them, so it still is more expensive. I think we're gonna go with the one that everyone voted on from the big roll and just try our hardest.
Trust the people.
Trust the people, you know? Because I think technically you're meant to use adhesive that like needs a trowel, like you almost need to with tiles and stuff. But I spied this, it was definitely more expensive, but being able to just spray and stick is going to be so much quicker and easier for us newbies. I'm worried about timelines, this might stretch into tomorrow. That's okay.
Before we can lay the flooring, we're going to cover the wheel arches with the other insulation. So this is the stuff that we used with Brad, and we double lined it. So we had a reflective side going down and showing underneath, and a reflective side showing inside, so it should keep the hot and the cold in and out.
Immediately without Brad, everything takes 10 times longer. Like most things that we have done, I'm sure there is a better, easier, quicker, simpler, neater, insert better adjective here way to do this. But it's getting done, so that's all that matters. Something's better than nothing.
I'm gonna pack all this up, go meet Emily, she's currently babysitting, and I think tomorrow morning we're gonna stencil out the floor and cut up the lino and put it in. That's very exciting. That's gonna look real different tomorrow. Emily and I were talking last night about the flooring that we bought and kind of what's going to be next in the process, and we decided that we think it's unwise to lay the lino floor down and then be doing construction on top of it, like putting these side panels in. So instead, today, the plan is to use a tool I've never used before, get some nuts in that have a thread that I can screw to, go to Bunnings, get some plywood, cut it to shape, and hopefully by the end of the day, get them in. It's ambitious, we'll see.
We painted this last week and it was my first ever experience spray painting like a bit of furniture, and I think we did pretty good. It has dried and it is definitely uneven, but I ended up putting on Instagram to get you guys to vote whether it was good enough or whether it definitely needed another coat, and I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping you'd be like, no, it's great, you're great, what an amazing job, you're perfect, woo! But you're right. It desperately needs another coat. So this is take 2. I am doing it inside this time, like in the garage, so there's less wind to blow things around. Apparently that will help. I hope this is the last coat. By the end of this, I am going to be a pro spray painter. I definitely think it's looking better. I think I need to let that dry and then maybe move it to a different angle to see if it is more even or not. One thing I did do differently that time was I used the high output option instead of standard. That could have been a mistake, or it could have been a stroke of genius. I guess we'll find out in a couple of hours when it's dry.
I've got 6 of the nuts left, but because there's already a bunch that are in there, it might be good for these two. I'm gonna need it for the doors anyway. Yeah, we have to go shopping.
I have been keeping track of every dollar we've spent during this van renovation project, and if Bunnings doesn't end up being where we've spent the most money, I will be very surprised. I think we might do a breakdown at the end of how much it all comes to, like labor and parts and all that, but it's adding up. We are now trying to make the boards that will like cover all these cavities and the insulation in there. To start with, we're trying, I think, to do the back door ones because they're both the same size. So theoretically it'll be easier for some reason.
And the way we plan to do that is tape some paper together so it's big enough, trace out exactly what we need, and then cut the plywood to fit. And then use the rivets to screw in that plywood, and then maybe felt the plywood later, but that comes later.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I think if we cut out a square and then worry about the corners after. Let's try that. I have been thinking more and more as we do this challenge, and this is going to offend people in construction, I think. But construction and carpentry and all of that sort of stuff just feels like really high stakes arts and crafts. Doesn't it?
Really high stakes.
Really high stakes and like very important arts and crafts.
At the same time we're testing my plank of wood, we've got the curtains to test too.
Uh-oh.
The correct way.
Look at the bottom.
7.
Uh-oh.
Are we sure it wasn't the outside line? Ay. That's correct.
It should fit.
No, that's short. Wait.
63.
Yeah, it was 663.
Did you measure wrong?
Either I measured wrong or you measured wrong.
I didn't do any of the measuring.
You wrote down the number on the piece of paper.
I wrote down 663.
Yeah, well then I measured wrong. That's $12 we're never getting back.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ha! We can't measure anything.
Uh-oh. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Wow. 3 out of 4. That's not bad. Good work, Mum.
Round 2. Fight.
That's a wrap on day.
Lots. We didn't actually get much done. We had very ambitious plans, but all we've done is measure up one side guy for the back.
Brad will either be very proud of us or disgusted with us. There is no in between.
At least if he watches this video, he'll see how bad we are and how much we actually do need. We're not kidding. We didn't get as much done as we wanted to yesterday because it took a lot longer to cut the corners properly. So it's the next day and we're back at it. Dramatically easier to cut when you're working from a stencil. Would have been a lot easier if we kept the stencils that were already there, but we didn't have that kind of forethought. Let's see if this fits.
It's taken us 2 days to cut out 2 rear door covers, and one of them has to have a pocket for a handle to fit through, and that seems confusing to figure out. I have confidence in us. I think we're getting quicker and quicker and more game, so that's something. I've been daydreaming lately when we've driven the van around about what it's going to be like when we're finally living in here. And even though we have made so many steps in the right direction, it just feels further and further away each day because I think we realize how much effort everything is. Then I think about people like Jack and Megan or Philly and Keely that are just smashing it, and I have no idea how they're doing it. Ugh.
Some people are just smarter than us, mate.
Yeah. This is like when I say we're building this with no experience, I mean it. Like we literally have no experience in anything that would be helpful to build this. So just figuring out how to cut a hole in the middle of a board seems really like a lot of brain has to go into it. A lot of brain has to go into it.
Brain power, mate.
A lot of brain power has to go into it. Clearly I've used all mine already today. While Jordan keeps cutting out the boards for the side panels for the insulation to go under, I am tasked with getting any remnants of Velcro and the stickiness from Velcro off. I think if I use eucalyptus oil, that's meant to get rid of stickiness. The Velcro is there because the previous owners had blinds that were put up by Velcro. But the odd thing is there's like some circles, some squares, and it's all just a bit redundant now because we're going to use magnets for our curtains. So they're just not necessary, and because they're all odd shapes and sizes, they don't look super neat, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not very aesthetic. Hopefully they come off easy. This is going to take quite a bit longer than I was hoping, so I think I'm going to put a podcast in and sort of zone out a little bit. At least it smells nice in here from the eucalyptus oil. That actually didn't take that long at all. For some reason, this one section, the door, had more Velcro than the rest of the van. I haven't done the front seats yet though, and I know that they have a bit as well. I've also decided I will be doing a deep clean of the windows before we put these boards on because it's quite grotty back there. I think if I do warm water and eucalyptus oil. Apparently I'm obsessed with eucalyptus oil now. But that's okay. We all have to be obsessed with something, right?
Alright, continuing on from yesterday, I need to put the riv nuts around this rim here, which will allow us to screw the plywood to it and put all the insulation in. So once we do that, this door's technically done. Very exciting. Just like that, just eyeballing it, correcting, and screwing some holes. We've got our first door guy on. I've only put him on loosely because we want to put insulation in. It is definitely feeling like a video game. I feel like I have now progressed through this level of building out these boards through a lot of trial and error. But now I'm on the next level, which is opening a new box, getting some new tools or new equipment, insulation and putting that in. It's very exciting. I'm gonna go get the box. Okay, we ordered this online. It came in 2 days. It's from Havelock Wool. I think it's gonna look a lot like what we had in here previously, but instead of being glass bats, it'll be actual sheep's wool. I'm excited to get it in.
Unfortunately, the eucalyptus oil hasn't cut it to get off the Velcro, so I read online that vinegar should work. But it is looking so much cleaner in here. I've done as much as I can without getting like pedantic, and there's a lot of wiring, so I obviously don't want to get that wet or anything. So with being careful, I think it's looking pretty good.
This is what the insulation looks like. They come in rolls like this, pretty long, but I'm like double layering at the moment. But what's great about using these riv nuts is that if it's wrong, we can just unscrew the panel, redistribute the insulation and make sure we get it right, and not have to buy a whole nother box for like 1 or 2 pieces. Don't know if you can tell, but we kind of lost the plot with our vlogging.
We were really focused on the build and kind of just completely forgot to pick up the camera and record anything. So the side panels that Jordan made, we ended up painting them white just to secure it all and make it look way nicer in here, and they turned out beautiful.
Also, we figured out that we used MDF and not plywood, so we needed to paint them, otherwise they would take on water and swell up.
We have also completely insulated the walls in here, as well as adding sound deadening. I found like a cheaper option on Amazon because sound deadening is expensive.
We attempted to lay the vinyl by ourselves, but we quickly realized we were outmatched. I measure everything wrong, and so I got about about a meter too short to cover the van in vinyl. So all measuring is now Emily's job. I can't be trusted. So Brad ended up helping us lay the vinyl, and that's why it looks so good.
And I'm so pleased with the colour. So thanks for helping out. Make sure to follow us on Instagram because we tend to put on there a couple of polls and you guys can help decide what this ends up looking like.
Brad also helped us make a bed base.
Woohoo! It looks so fancy and is exactly what we had in mind. We just never would have been able to make it ourselves.
I'll show you what it does. So we had the idea with Brad about having a bed that will pull out into a queen but be small during the day. And he'd never done it before, but he came up with and helped us carve these, I call them bed teeth. Essentially, he zigzagged up and down a piece of ply, and now they pull out from themselves to extend our bed out, which is just insane. So during the day, small bed like this, we've got all our other room for our seats, our electronics, and our kitchen, and at night time, pulls all the way out. That's how big it's gonna be. Only thing left is to put supports in for this side of the bed, so it will stay up. And the mattress is deceptively comfortable despite being only 10 centimeters.
I cannot believe that we've figured out a way to have a queen bed in this tiny van. It's so good.
I'm so excited that I get to sleep comfortably.
Yeah. What's nice is with these two put up, it's quite a nice little pillow to maybe have movie night.
Yeah, we can have a display, a projector there.
Yeah, projector would be awesome.
Nice and comfy.
Make sure to follow along because the next video, this van build will be finished.
Wow, ambitious.
Yep.
Now we have a very good idea of what our electrical system, our electrical.
Yep. Okay, never mind. It gets power from the alternator from when we're driving the car, which is this. Is it?
Kinda.
Oh, okay. What's that?
It goes through a wiring kit and goes to the DC-DC charger.
Yeah, but that's how it gets to
Okay,
this.
yeah, good enough, yeah.
Basically. And
What
fine.
is that?
Oh,
Told you she'd be sassy about it. No, I didn't say that.
it's because you like
I
if
did
you were
say you'd
staring at
find
it
it.
like this, you'd be like, where could the tripod be?
Never.
I don't know where it is.